Thank you for joining this session. On behalf of South Asians, I welcome you. So tomorrow is the International Yoga Day, and as such, the Yoga Day coincides with the summer solstice. And actually, this year the solstice happened today on 28th. So actually, we can say today is the International Yoga Day. Uh, what is yoga? Yoga is the rhythm of the body, the melody of the mind, the harmony of the soul, and the symphony of life. So, with the sync of the body, mind, and soul, we can create a beautiful symphony in our life. Yoga started thousands of years back. Over the years, it has changed a bit. The yoga has not changed, but the view of yoga has changed. So, in the modern view, what is the modern view of yoga? It's mostly yoga mats, yoga clothes, yoga studios, yoga teacher, and joining some sessions and paying for yoga. And if that was not enough, normally yoga is a slow thing. But if that was not enough, now in the modern definition, we have hot yoga, where they try to give you 1 hour of yoga and the benefits of 1 hour of yoga in like 15 minutes. So, in my opinion, the ancient view of yoga is very different. It's a way of life. And the modern yoga, currently the yoga is focused more on body, on fitness, flexibility, intensity. Then you practice some, strange twist and do the bending, some postures. So the whole thing is more like body centric. In the ancient view, it is related more to the peace, relaxation, and harmony. And it is focused more on like our comprehensive existence, our body, mind, and spirit. Uh, so, body and mind in getting the integrity of our existence. I think the biggest hurdle is mind. Mind is as such a beautiful and amazing gift to human race. Most of the animals, or other living beings, don't have as powerful mind. I don't know if even they have the mind. Our mind gives us gives us power of choice, and it also enables the subjective experience of reality. So every mind is unique and in a sense creates like own unique world. Now, if you have noticed, our mind swings between happiness and sadness, love to hate, affection to anger, confidence to insecurity, compassion to cruelty. Remember that we like the positive aspect of the things, but not the negative ones, right? But the mind, at one moment, we would feel that we are on the top of the Everest of happiness, and in a few minutes, it would take us to the in the abyss of misery or anger or the sadness, right? And many times, we want it or not, these things happen, correct? So our emotions, the mind keeps dragging us from positive to negative, and many times without our conscious consent, the thoughts and things happen, and one moment we are happy, one moment we are sad, one moment we are angry, frustrated. So life is more like life in an autopilot Tesla. And but the ride is not a smooth ride. The ride by mind is more like a ride in the Six Flags. Takes ups and downs. So what are the causes? So what about mind? Mind, it constantly keeps working. I relate it more to a popcorn machine, like which keeps popping thoughts. Like a popcorn machine, the mind keeps popping thoughts. It's so hard to make it stop. When we are in the awakened state, in the awake state, so the thoughts keep coming like good or bad. We have no control over our thoughts. And thoughts create emotions, and the emotions bring us the happiness and misery, love and anger, all these emotions. So normally, over the years, as we get older, the control of mind becomes more and more. And the mind, mostly mind controls us, I mean, but the yoga is an attempt to make the mind work for us. So the word yoga in Sanskrit or in India means union. So yoga means a life which is integrated, I mean, an integrated approach to life with mind, body, soul, and not only that, with other uh, living beings. So it's like more like comprehensive one. So what is mind? I mean, the biggest hindrance in, okay, what is the end result of the yoga? So when you have a combined approach in life, it helps you create the best version of us. With control our mind, we can do, and we can be whatever we want to be. And when we create the best version for ourselves, I mean, it's a gift not only to us, I mean, it's a gift to people who live with us, our family, friends, colleagues, with everyone. uh, so why mind is an hindrance, and why we need to, I mean, look at the mind. So what is mind? I mean, mind is invisible, right? We cannot see that. So in one sense, mind is more like software. The body is the hardware. We can see the brain, not we can see, but some surgeons and some people, I mean, medical students, they're able to see the brain, right? And we can see the body, but mind is the invisible part. It's more like software. And as we get into the world of AI, it makes me think that mind is more like a neural network. It's just like the AI part. So when we are born, the mind is mind is empty, right? And at that time, okay, another thing is mind has two parts. If you have noticed, is the conscious mind and it's the unconscious mind. So at the beginning is the conscious mind, but as we keep learning, the subconscious mind keeps taking over more and more responsibilities. So how this happens? Senses like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, all these are the senses which keep taking inputs from the outside world. So this is more like, in a AI model, this is like the data collection. These senses don't stop. They keep feeding. For a newborn baby, first time sees the mom and then notices the image of the mom and then the dad and all the people, and then starts learning, and then, starts giggling and all those things, right? And then over the time, these things, the subconscious mind is an amazing thing, though. There is nothing bad about it. Subconscious mind is like automated learning tool. It learns it and it makes many things very easy for us. So if I want to give you an example of the subconscious mind attacks, let's say, I mean, you are hiking and then you see a rattlesnake, right? So if there was no subconscious mind, and if the conscious mind had to do the work, then it would think that, oh, there is something moving. Oh, it's a long thing. Maybe it's a snake, right? Oh, the head is square, and there is a rattle at the end. Oh, it's a rattlesnake. Oh, rattlesnakes are poisonous. If they bite, they can kill us. And then you would think, oh, so I have to get back, right? So this is the conscious mind. It would go through the sequence of things, I mean, right? But once the subconscious mind has all these things programmed into it, you see a rattlesnake and you just step back, right? This is the beauty of it. I mean, it also helps with the survival and so many things. So don't take me wrong when I keep referring to subconscious mind here. But this is the same subconscious mind. Over the time, it starts acting, it keeps learning and starts acting more and more on its own. So the subconscious mind, creates habits, right? And they're hard to break. And it also creates reactions to things. So what happens? I mean, we keep feeding to the mind, the subconscious mind, and it keeps making the habits, right? So in an AI model, how do you get the best in any AI model, right? So you feed a lot of data. But the very important thing is you have to train it, right? So exactly the same way, to get the best of our mind, our life, we need to watch what we feed to our mind, and also to train it. If something is correct, I mean incorrect, or if something we don't like, we have to know the ways. I mean, how we can, make it unlearn, and then use the subconscious mind, create habits and give reactions in a positive way that can make our life better. So now look at the mind. So most of the time our mind, it's in like two states. That's what I have seen. Most of the time it goes back in the past or it's in the future. It keeps talking about like what happened yesterday at work or what happened this morning on the road or what is happening, what happened in Israel or in India with the plane crash or or in the future, like what I'm going to do tomorrow. Oh, if it's a good day, hope it's not like very hard, that kind of thing, right? We are rarely in the present moment. The mind is rarely in the present moment, so we are not much in the mindful status, I mean. And the other thing with the mind is the craving and aversions. So what happens, like our senses, eyes, we see something or we taste, we eat something, right? And instantly, I mean, our existence, our mind, and the system just keeps saying that, hey, it's good or it's bad, right? And subconscious mind keeps listening to these things. This happens behind the screen. So when we say that, oh, I mean, this is a good guy, I mean, this food is amazing, I mean, the subconscious mind is going to take a note of it and it's going to make you want more of it. And if there is something which you don't like or which is something negative, then the body, because that's the defense mechanism, it's going to say that, hey, I'm going to not like this, and it's going to try to avoid it. So remember this mind, I mean, it's in the past or in the future, but rarely in the present moment. So it lives out of the existence. And normal job of the subconscious mind is to just create cravings and aversions in the life. So how do you control the mind, or how do you keep the mind on the track? And I mean, are we able to just keep the mind in positive, good phase? Are we able to control the mind as such? I mean, this is a very, very difficult thing. The day we were born, the mind was mostly like, the subconscious mind was like a blank slate. I mean, but we have written so many things, and the subconscious mind has got so much power. So at this time, I mean, if we want to control the mind, it's a very difficult thing. If you want to keep your mind out of the thought, I'm sure you have tried. You cannot be in the state of no thoughts for like more than a few seconds. um, so this is like very challenging, but it can be done. So in how does the yoga, the ancient yoga or the traditional yoga, tell you how you can make your life better, how you can get your existence, your mind, your body, your mind, your soul in sync? So they show like four different paths of yoga. So now take an analogy of some elementary or high school class, right? You, I mean, there are some subjects like chemistry or calculus, right? Not everybody likes it. Not everybody has the aptitude, right? So the same way, some people in the class are very smart, intelligent. They would grasp the topic very well. But there are people, students who love more by the heart. I mean, they find the subjects very, very difficult. I mean, their skill, their talent goes more in the dancing or the art or the other part, right? And there are some students, I mean, physically fit. They are ready to do the service, do the work in the class, play the sports and all those things, right? So, but in our school system, in the way we grow up, everybody gets subjected to all those things, you like it or not. But this in ancient yoga, they prescribe like four paths. I mean, where you can do the yoga as such. I mean, so the one path is the Jnan Yoga, or that is the yoga of the knowledge and wisdom. This is by learning. You can keep learning and you can know the life better, the mind better. I call this like a brain dominated yoga. You use it, the brain. The second part is Bhakti Yoga, we call it. This is the yoga of devotion and love. It is mostly by heart. You have seen people, right, overflowing with love and kindness. You just go close to them and you get infected with love, positivity in life. They don't have to know what goes in the mind or all those books or the philosophies. They are just in sync, I mean, and by practicing certain things, you can do the bhakti yoga. And that's a perfect way to achieve yoga, the union in your life. The third part is karma yoga. I think many of you might have heard about the laws of karma. So this is the yoga of action and service. This is more related to body. You don't. It's not about the heart or the brain. It's just about the body, the work. You can do your yoga with in the karma yoga way too. And then comes the Raj Yoga. This is like a very systematic method, very systematic way to control the mind with a mind. Seems like very difficult thing, but they prescribe beautiful, very effective steps. So we will go to take a look at these four paths of yoga one by one. So what is Jnan Yoga? So the Jnan Yoga is the yoga of knowledge and wisdom. It's the yoga of intellect, self-inquiry, and insight. It is considered the most direct, but also the most challenging of the four paths of yoga, as it involves deep philosophical inquiry and mental discipline. The ultimate goal is to realize the true nature of the self and understand that it is one with Brahman, the universal consciousness. So you are part of the consciousness. So this path is for the seeker who are inclined towards contemplation, study, and discrimination between the real and the unreal. So the practice of Jnana Yoga normally involves like self-inquiry, discrimination, detachment, mindfulness, silence. So this path, who is Jnana Yoga for? So this is for the philosophical minds or people who are into reading, who have gurus or who have mentors. They go and seek the knowledge, the wisdom, and that's how they want to get the peace, the bliss, the union, or yoga of that existence. So this is like the Jnana Yoga. This is the first part of yoga. The second one is the Bhakti Yoga, or the yoga of devotion and love. So Bhakti Yoga is the path of love, surrender, and devotion to the divine. It teaches that the fastest way to spiritual awakening is not through intellect or discipline, but through a pure heart filled with love. So unlike Jnana Yoga, which seeks knowledge, or Raj Yoga, which seeks control, Bhakti Yoga seeks connection, a deeply personal relationship with the divine. However one chooses to define your divine, it could be God, universe, nature, guru, self, the people around you, the nature, the system, around you. So in the practice in Bhakti Yoga, the essence of the yoga is the surrender of the ego, letting love dissolve the separation. It is like loving people, respecting people, seeing the divine in everything and everyone. And so this is more like the yoga of the heart. And then comes the karma yoga. This is the yoga of selfless action. So by the way, if you read Gita, Bhagavad Gita, then Lord Krishna talks about all this Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all these yogas, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all in details, and Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga is the practice of acting with full dedication, without attachment to the outcome. It's a bit difficult thing, but many times when we do a lot of efforts, we put things right, but we have no control on the outcome. So in this Karma Yogic approach, they say that do the best what you can do, and Lord Krishna says that leave the result to me. I'll take care of all those things. Uh, so this means doing your duty, whether your role in life whatever role your in your in life may be, with sincerity, but without ego or expectation of reward. This is the yoga of selfless service, a life lived not for present personal gain, but for the good of others and alignment with the divine will. So the karma yoga, we have heard that, right? If you do good karma, then good karmas come back and they pay you back. I strongly believe in this part. And Lord Krishna also says, certain things that what is the life like. Everybody has a unique skill, right, and unique thing to offer to the world. Now take an example. There are three ways a karma can be done or something can be done. Take an example at textile. Let's say we have a project to do, right? There are three levels we can do a project with. The first part, one part is we don't care about anybody else. I want to do the project in the best possible way that reflects good for me, and then I get recognized well. I don't care if it increases the work for other people, it creates inconvenience for these people or other people. My main focus is only myself, and I want to do it good for me. uh, in Gita they call it like three different types of karma, and this is the third karma, which is like the tamas kind of approach. So you just look at yourself and you do the karma. The second karma comes, you are doing the same project, but here you don't want to create, you want to make sure that nobody else at textile or our customers or vendors, nobody gets affected negatively, so this one involves a little bit more work, but you are not creating anything bad for anybody else. So that is like the rajas part of most of the world works like tamas or the rajas way. And in the Satwig, the top layer of doing any work is the Satwig, Sattva. And in the Sattva, what happens? I'm going to do the work, but I want to make sure the customers, the vendors of textiles get the best thing out of this one. It does not, it makes life easy for other teams. So even if I have to work hard, I'm not focusing just on myself. I'm focusing more on on an integrated system, on other teams, customers, and overall picture. I'm going to create something which helps the world, which helps everybody else. And Lord Krishna says that when you do this way, you get more joy out of it. Uh, and in the end, you get the reward. Plus, you get the happiness out of this approach. So it is said that in Karma Yoga, everything is like a yagna. So yagna is what? You offer the best of you for the benefit of the consciousness or the combined consciousness of the world or for the benefit of not only you but everybody else. And also Krishna says that do your work, don't get attached to the results. I'll take care of you. So you need to have some belief into it. And this is how the karma yoga works. But in the end, the karma yoga would give you peace, bliss, happiness, and you are making the world also better that way. The fourth yoga is the Raj Yoga. So this is also considered the Dhyan Yoga. So this is the science of mastering the mind. So the first yoga was the brain yoga, you can call it. Then comes the heart. Then comes the body or the action. This one is a Raj Yoga. So like your existence, your life is like a kingdom, and then you can be a king of that one, and you can systematically and scientifically you can get the best of you out of it. This is very fascinating, and Patanjali was one rishi or uh, one genius who wrote a book on 8 limbs, Asta Yoga, around like 2000, more than 2000 years ago. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this one now. And I'm going to get in a little bit detail here. So this is a very scientific way. So here, I mean, you want to control, you want to know the mind and you want to control the mind and you want to get the best out of you. So how can you do that? So there are 8 limbs or 8 parts of in Raj Yoga. So see how the 8 limbs, how the parts progress. The first one is the Yama. So what is Yama? It's a hard word, it's a Sanskrit word, but it just says that the ethical restraint, and this is how we relate to the others, relate to the world, outside world, right? If somebody comes and hurts us, or somebody lies, or somebody takes our things, we feel sad, right? We cannot have our peace or happiness, right? So if you want to have control over your mind, or if you want to get into the yogic status, behave or treat the others the way you want the others to treat you. So this one sets the rule for one person, or for one, how to deal with the outside world. So there are like 5 parts they call it. Ahimsa is non-violence. So you don't hurt anybody physically or psychologically because you don't like if somebody hurts you, right? Physically or mentally. So you do the say this thing to people. And the satya is truthfulness. Don't lie. When somebody lies to you, we don't like it, right? So we don't lie to people. Aste is like not stealing. If somebody steals my stuff, I don't like it. So I should not steal anybody else's work. And the brahmacharya is like the moderation in life. And then aparigraha is non-possessiveness. So these 5 things, aparigraha, non-possessiveness means like living a minimum life. The more material we have, the more we get attached to it, right? I mean, the 5 bathrooms we have in the house or 4 cars, I mean, they're more likely to break, right? And then this is going to just create more inconvenience and more, little bit more suffering. So I mean, here what the aparigraha is, just do it minimum. Don't store a lot of things or don't take it from other people. So these are the rules that tell you how to behave with the outside world. So now you know how to behave with the outside world. Now come to yourself, I mean. So now look at our personal observations, like how we relate to ourselves. There also they give like 5 things. Now, one is the purity or the cleanliness. If our body is not clean, if we smell, our mind is going to get distracted to it. We are not going to feel good, right? If we have not taken shower for 4 5 days, how miserable it is going to be. If our hands are dirty, if our legs are dirty. So this one tells that keep the body clean. The another one is the santosha, the contentment. This is like within us. Many times we are not content with the things. I mean, Zuckerberg or the Warren Buffett, billions of dollars, I mean, right? But there's no contentment, right? I mean, they keep going and going. I mean, like Mark Zuckerberg, I should not give my personal opinions. I mean, but with this much money, I mean, still he would hurt the, like the common people or the kids. I mean, and they want them to get hooked onto the screen more and more and more. I mean, I mean, there's no contentment. Contentment is a good thing, and that can help you. At one point you should say that, okay, enough is enough. I mean, I don't need more. So the personal thing is the keep your body clean, be content with what you have. Don't let the mind, because mind is like a, like a horse. I mean, it would keep going and going if you don't control it. If you have $1 million, it would want 5 million. Once you have 5 million, it's going to want 10 million, then a billion, then a 10 billion. It never stops. It never, so try to control the greed and the greed, be content. And the tapas is discipline. So many things in life, I mean, we need discipline. So what I say is negative things in life have the benefit of the force of gravity. They are very easy to take on, or fall on a slippery path. But if you want to elevate yourself, it's like going against the gravity, right? That requires discipline. That requires hard work. And then the next one is like swadhyaya, like self-study. You have to keep studying yourself. You have to keep improving, and you have to surrender to a high power. So this second part, niyama, is more about your body, your existence, and how you want to live your life. So the first part tells you how to behave with the outside world. The second part comes and tells you about how to live your life. Now third comes the asana. This is where the modern view of yoga comes, right? The physical postures and the asanas. So we use asanas to tune our body, right? To look better, those things. But in the context of the ancient uh, way of yoga, or the ancient view, asana is more about, if you have a body pain, if you have some troubles in the body, then the body is going to keep distracting your mind. If we have a hurt finger or a back pain, our mind is constantly going to keep going there, right? So the asanas in the Indian context or the ancient context, the asanas more about how to get rid of that pain. So they have thousands of different postures which help different parts of the body. The objective of the asanas in the Raj Yoga or in the Indian Yoga is to make the distraction or the pain in the body least in your mind, in your existence. Does it make sense? So this is the asanas, the physical postures. I mean, and we do more on getting for exercising or for fitness, the other purpose. Uh, but the posture, the asanas, is more related to the body and make the body in sync with our existence. Then comes the pranayam. The so many times in yoga we do here or out, they also talk about breathing, right? And the breathing is, we do breathing most of the time to feel a little bit relaxed or to control the stress, right? So here in the Raj Yoga, the 8 limbs, the first one, outside world. The second world, yourself. The third part is with the body. And the third, and then comes the your breathing. Many emotions in the mind, they are related with the breathing. When you are anger, sad, jealous, frustrated, happy, you can start noticing the breathing. And the breathing would be different. It would be fast, slow, cool, hot. So now it comes to controlling the emotions part, and that's why they say that start learning the breathing techniques. I mean, that's how you can control your emotions. And That's the beginning of getting control or keeping mind under control. So once you have the breath control, the next step is the pratyahar. So let's say, I mean, you have yama, niyama, you have asanas, you have the pranayam, breathing control. But if your senses are open, your eyes are open, I mean, your eyes, your ears, your nose, they're going to constantly keep getting the smell and the pictures and then the sounds, all those in the body, right? And body is going to keep reacting to it. So that is going to keep creating distractions. So even if you are controlling breathing and all that, your mind is still going from thoughts to thoughts and in like all different directions. So then comes the stage, the fifth limb is the pratyahar. So it's the withdrawal of the senses. So now you become aware of your different senses. Your eyes, you are seeing it, but you are more neutral of it. You are not feeding the brain. Or when you are really practicing the Raj Yoga, you close your eyes, and then you probably live in some quiet, peaceful place where the distractions are minimum. So your mind also gets calm and at rest, So let's say, I mean, you have withdrawal the senses too. So what is the next step? I mean, the next step is the dharana, the concentration, So you have followed all the five steps. Now you are in the sixth step. But what happens? You watch your mind, it just keeps going from place to place, from thoughts to thoughts, right? There is no input. But the business of mind is to just keep working, keep creating thoughts. I mean, so here what they say, I mean, you take your mind and focus. Concentration is like focus on certain thing. You can focus on the breathing. So now the difference between four and the six is in the four is the breathing control. I mean, where you change the breathing, you do long, short. There are a lot of techniques. I mean, but in the sixth, I mean, in the concentration, you are just watching it. You are not trying to change it. You are just focusing. It could be breathing, or you can do on something else. But when even if you try this one for a few minutes, few seconds, the mind is going to go somewhere else. You respectfully bring it back and start focusing wherever the concentration is. So this step is the dharana, the concentration. So I'm talking about all these steps one by one. All of them have a lot of information, tips, and techniques for each of them. We don't have too much time, so I'm just going to giving you idea on the higher level. So once the concentration is done, right? I mean, you are good with the concentration, the next step comes the meditation. This is the real meditation, I mean, so the mind gets in sync with something. And then once you're meditating, your mind calms down, your senses they also calm down. And you really start getting into some blissful, some peaceful status. And after a meditation, if you come out, you would feel so relaxed, so lightweight. And that is the meditation techniques. And there are variety of ways of doing meditation. You can search on Google and you would find a lot of different ways. And in yogic science, everything is okay as long as you are able to control the mind and you are able to do the dhyana. And then comes the status of samadhi. What is the status of samadhi? It is just, I never had that feeling myself. And it's like very hard to describe that feeling of samadhi. But once you are in the status of samadhi, you are part of some bigger consciousness. You are part of the universe. You just feel that, your existence it has, become part of something big. And that is a samadhi state. That's the ultimate state. So here, the 8 steps, very beautifully written. You don't have to follow it step by step, but it just so beautifully tells, like, from the outside world, how you can slowly and slowly get your focus inside and start focusing more uh, on your mind and get the unity or the self-realization of yourself. So we have talked about, in the meeting, in the huddle, I said that the yoga in the Western world, in the modern world, yoga is like a iceberg. We have seen only 10% of the yoga, right? So this is exactly what I meant. Yoga, there are 4 different parts of yoga. And what in the modern society, what we know as yoga is only these 2 parts, the parts which I have, put the rectangle against, asanas and the pranayama. So out of the 4 parts, our modern yoga focuses only 2 of the fourth one. So if you look at the fourth, each path is like 25%. And the fourth path, the Raj Yoga, has 8 parts, and out of 2 parts we know. So it's like, 1/4 of the 25%, so 6.25%. So I think we know only 6.25%, or most of us know only 6.25% of the yoga, what is meant in Indian culture for thousands of years. So how do you want to program your AI system? So, I have described these 4 paths, and it's not my paths as such. I have in the yogic philosophy describes them. You can choose any path. You can choose by heart or by body, whatever you want. And then also mix and match is allowed. You can pick it, and there are no prescribed ways. There are a lot of techniques, a lot of tips about it. You can choose, you can pick something from the Jnan Yoga or the wisdom and the knowledge, something from the Bhakti Yoga. So it's all allowed as long as uh, you start watching the mind, you start getting something in the whenever the mind deviates, you bring it back. It's like training the AI model. Whenever you get the sadness, you try to contemplate like what makes you sad, and you tell your mind, and you find a way uh, to bring the peace, the harmony there. I mean, it's very easy to say that, but it's very, very difficult to practice in real life. Controlling mind with mind is such a difficult job. And the mind is there for many years. It has got so much control of ourselves. So doing the mind is a very difficult thing. And I would like to add one personal thing. Last year, I went to Vipassana. So it's like a 10-day course, yogic course, and in they don't charge any money. It's just the free. But 10 days, you cannot see anyone. You don't talk to anyone. You see the people, but you don't look at them into eye to eye. Every day you do meditation and dhyana, pratyahar, all those 8 parts for like 12 to 14 hours. And then you see that from very beginning that the mind starts rebelling so bad, so bad. On the third day, you want to quit. You want to go out because because the mind is going to give a lot of fight to it. You have to be aware of that. And but in the end, very systematically, that Vipassana is more yogic, I mean the Buddha's thing. But they talk about mind, and they help you how to observe and how to get the craving and aversion out of it, and the suffering out of it. Okay, I think I'm done. I don't know how many people are still around, and I hope I'm not the only one talking to myself.
Thank you.
So if you have any questions, you can ask me. And I can add one more thing here. See the suffering and pain, how it works. Let's say, you are walking on a road or in a park, and then some drunk guy, some crazy guy comes and hits you, and you fall down and you are hurt, right? And the body gets some pain. And the crazy man goes ahead, and there is a dog, and he hurts the dog also, right? And the dog also feels the pain. Now what happens after a day or some hours, our pain is gone, right? And then for a dog, the dog does not keep thinking of the guy. That's it. He sees the guy after like a month or 2 months. He's going to, at that time, he's going to realize that this guy is hurt, and the dog is going to probably bite, right? But for us, what happens? We cannot make sense out of this thing. The body pain is gone, but the suffering keeps going on. Whenever we pass that park, or when we saw that kind of person or something, we're going to keep suffering, right? The thought is going to come in our head, and we're going to feel sad. We're going to feel angry, frustrated, right? So this is the suffering. The yogic science talks about. You can't do anything at that point with the person, but the thought of that incident, the anger, the frustration, just keeps making us suffer. The same thing happens with some friends or some family members or somebody. We had some bad incidents, and then maybe that person acted at that time in some weird circumstances, or maybe the person meant something different, but we keep suffering, right? Whenever we think of that person, we have some prejudices, some bad feelings, and whenever we thought of that, our mood just changes and the suffering just comes up. So that was one part of the mind I missed to include. The suffering, which we can control, and we can train our mind to minimize. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for staying this long and listening to this. And I hope this helps. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you,
I'm an
Jayan.
expert.
Wonderful
You are very
presentation.
Great
thank you.
presentation. Thank you. I was
You're very good.
curious. You said that
Yes.
you began practicing yoga recently, and I was wondering what brought you to start now.
Recently, I have learned about yoga for a long time. Like, I used to practice yoga, the asanas and that part when I was a kid. But recently, what happens, I went to Vipassana last month. And this is an interesting story, why I went to Vipassana. I had never heard of it, but I have a three strike rule. If there are friends I like or I admire, and if they ask me to do something three times, or repeatedly, then, I tell myself that, hey, this doesn't hurt and I'm going to try. And, that same thing happened. I was talking with a good friend in India, and we started talking about Vipassana, and he tells me, Jayesh, go to Vipassana, hang up the phone, just register yourself, Then my brother-in-law does it, and I go to Vipassana. And so beautiful thing, very torturous, but, it opened so many things. And then I started looking at yoga from a different point of view. Make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
And here, every morning I go on one small mountain here, which gives me like